All right, we are back on the college basketball experience, and now we jump into. God, I can't. This is the worst in a way. Isn't this the worst? Like, cause I ride. I don't know about you guys. I know Mac, you cover it too, but I ride into like I start doing college football content in June, and I ride that wave all the way until April. You would think I would rejoice in the fact I don't have to work as much, but it's just, I love sports. It's downtime. I'm still betting MLB. I love college baseball. Got the Frozen Four still going on, but there's still UFL, CFL, but it's still not nightly. I feel like college basketball, it's like a machine. I know that we get exhausted at times, but I'm still I feel even tonight, I feel like there's something missing, right?
Yeah, it's depressing that it's basically coming to an end. I mean, that's what we're talking about, man. Enjoy it while it lasts, because I mean, after this, we're gonna not have football till the last weekend in August, and then we won't play basketball again.
Don't say that. Now Colby's offended because there is football.
No, I mean college,
yeah, but even then, even like I love the UFL. You know, I love any spring football league doing it. I love the CFL. I'm hosting the CFL gambling podcast and the UFL gambling podcast, but they still don't utilize weeknights as much. So you have to wait to the weekend, like you're sitting there like you're a fucking kid in school again. You're like, oh, this weekend I'm gonna, we're gonna play Tech Super Bowl, and then I'm gonna go play a bunch of fucking football and basketball. You're looking forward to it. If what's great about the drug of college basketball, it's like every night you're just boom, boom, boom. NC Nick, you with me here?
I do think the break makes you want it more and makes you realize how special those few months are. Because if it was just complete year round, I mean, I'm not saying it would be a bad thing. That would be a lot of fun. But I think the break does really, gear up your excitement when it's close to coming back. And also, by the way, in case people don't know, you do college football content year round every Wednesday night.
Yes.
But you're talking about like when you really start diving in heavy doing your team previews.
Yeah, but, that starts to become a daily thing, just like college basketball is my point.
Right.
Is I just like thinking about shit the entire time. You know what I mean? Whether it's games, but obviously having the direct result is huge too. I love MLB. I love NHL playoffs. I love Kentucky Derby. I love all that shit. And, we're going to talk all that stuff, but I'm saying it's just different. It's just different. College basketball and college football to me are like the two greatest things we have,
Agreed.
College baseball is great too. And I love Omaha, but once we get to Omaha, that's awesome too. I'm watching every I try to watch as much as I can now, but it's just different. It's just different. But, all right, we got games. We got 2 games. Saturday.
Somebody said in the chat said NBA playoffs.
No
thanks.
No. NBA died. Yeah, NBA died a long time ago to me. You got to go. I'll do big 3 with Caitlin Clark though. I'll do big 3 with Caitlin Clark with that $5 million. All right. I watched I watched an England professional basketball game, or an English professional basketball game the other day.
My buddy watches the African League professional basketball. He says it's pretty good, actually. I haven't watched it yet, though, so I cannot confirm.
I mean, there's some skill in the game I was watching in England. There was some skill, but the defense was just pathetic. It's like
I feel like the athletes might be lacking in England.
But I don't think their rosters were full of British dudes. I think they might have went out and paid for some local talent elsewhere. But all right, we got the NCAA tournament on Saturday. NC State Purdue, the Pussy Pack is rolling along. 8.5 points. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. We just saw Zach Edey having a hell of a good time, as he should. As he fucking should. But DJ Burns is doing that same thing. Just there's no camera phone around.
Which I'm surprised at.
No, I'm sure there's a camera phone around, but no one's filming. He's probably like, turn that shit off. That's what I would do. As I walk in there, I don't care how many beers you. I'd be like, don't turn your fucking phones off. I'll hang out with you because you got clout. DJ Burns is now never gonna have to pay for a drink in Raleigh again. Nick, is he?
I don't think so.
I'll buy him a beer if I see him in Raleigh. If I'm visiting you and I run into DJ Burns, I'll buy him a beer. I can't. It's like CJ told me CJ. Getting a lot of shout outs on this episode, but we were in Vegas and he goes, you got to submit, Colby. You got to know. And then I jumped on NC State back then. That was against Marquette. And he jumped off of them. Ironically, he had told me that they're going to win it all. And
wasn't his comment they were going to get to the Final Four?
That's what he says. But I maybe on air he said that, but
yeah, over
cocktails, he was definitely telling me. Dude, I'm telling you, they're going to win it all. No one can stop them. They're trained and no one can stop them. Give me the pussy pack plus 8.5 points. Sprinkle that money line plus 325. You saw the way Purdue was partying. You saw West Lafayette was lit up. And if you really need
Nick, how's the scene in Raleigh?
Oh, Raleigh's on fire. I wasn't in Raleigh Saturday or Sunday night, but I've seen some videos, and I'm probably going to go to the same bar as where I watched them beat Oakland. So that might be some good luck coming NC State's way.
This is from a movie in 1993 that I think is valuable.
Shit, hobo from Purdue. I hate Purdue. When's the last time they ever won anything, anyways?
There's a reason why that's a quote in a movie. All right. They haven't won anything in a long time. Now they can get to the Final Four. This is their version of winning. Pussy pack, get it done. They cover the 8.5. And I think it's worth sprinkling because this story has been so magical. Mac, what are you doing here?
What's Purdue's kryptonite? The double-digit fucking seed. Somehow, some way, they're playing a double-digit seed in the Final Four. Fucking Fair Dick, St. Pete, North Texas, Little Rock. As much as I hate the pussy back, I gotta take the points. I think you sprinkle some on the money line. You can't deny the magic right now. It's Jimmy Valvano. Like you said, Purdue. They probably will end up winning the game. They probably will find a way. They'll foul out the entire NC State team. But I think I don't think NC State can get blown out right now. They did not have a cakewalk. They beat Texas Tech.
They beat Carolina. They beat Duke twice, right? I mean, they beat Duke twice. Virginia.
They beat Marquette.
Pack line defense.
Somehow, some way, Purdue's gonna forget how to shoot open jump shots when they get them. And maybe Zach Edey gets a couple fouls against the big refrigerator. Let's go, DJ Burns, NC State. And Purdue falls to another double-digit seed.
And Mario in the chat says he lives 45 minutes east of West Lafayette, and it's buzzing all the way over here. That's what I'm saying. You get that. This is where I think that week break, although great in the likes of Zach Edey destroying pussy, but it might be a bad thing. Is like you're hearing everyone talk about you the entire time. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, the tides have turned. How about that? You got Colby and Mac riding NC State. Look, I'll just say NC State might be a train, but the Cinderella train usually fades.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Not with NC State. This is the last time they did this.
Yeah, but it did with George Mason, with VCU, with Wichita State, with like Syracuse as a 10 seed, with Loyola Chicago, with FAU or Miami last year, with UCLA a few years ago.
But what about San Diego State?
Well, they were 5. Well, somebody had to win the game, and they were a 5 seed. I think Burns Edey matchup is the matchup that we all want to see. I don't know if Burns is going to be as effective against him because usually he uses his body to create space to get his shot off.
Let's talk about this.
7'4" erases that room.
Let's talk about this. Keats. This goes back to my thing with like Colorado with Tristan da Silva, or the way that Krutwig was used for Porter Moser at Loyola. They should put Burns at the top of the key with the ball, directing the offense, and bring Edey out and see if they'll use Edey. I don't know. They might just go zone. They might, say, but I do think there's something there. Burns can hit those like 10, 12 footers. It's going to be fascinating to watch. But what do you think, Mac? Do you think that there's something there that if you bring him out, you bring Edey out a little bit and the offense might be able to execute a little bit better?
Yeah. I think they can use DJ Burns as a passer too. Cause I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think Burns is able to spin off Edey. And I don't, like I said, man, I don't buy into this bullshit narrative that Edey doesn't foul. Like I saw 4 individual fouls that weren't called. I think the narrative is actually going to put some pressure on the officials, and I actually think they're going to call some fouls on Edey.
It hasn't for 2 years. What makes you think it's going to?
But this is the biggest stage. This is the most pressure.
Maybe he just
everywhere.
doesn't. Maybe he just doesn't get himself in foulable positions.
No, they're literally.
You see what we got tagged in today? We got tagged in on him like destroying a human being.
Guys. He's.
I love how I don't get tagged in this.
He's one of the most physical players, just like DJ Burns. You're going to accidentally pick up 2 to 3 fouls, like Shaquille O'Neal, like Yao Ming, his lookalike. You accidentally pick up 2 or 3 fouls as a big man. He's the only guy. He's going to pick up some fouls on Saturday.
NC Nick, you're laying that big number.
I'm going to be rooting for NC State here, but I think this is where the run ends. Now, could this still cover? They definitely could, but I'm going to take Purdue to win, and I'm going to lay it.
Noah, do we even need to ask you?
Cocktail Napkin actually has this one at 8.5 points, and I'm with Mac. Purdue's lost to a 12 seed. They've lost to a 14 seed. They've lost to a 12 seed, a 13 seed, a 15 seed, and a 16 seed. They haven't lost to an 11. They haven't lost to a 13. I'm not calling for the loss for Purdue against NC State. However, what have we seen from NC State that makes us think that they're going to get ran out of this building here? They've been competitive in every game, and they've won every game that they've played for the last 3 weeks. For me, I am a little turned off by the whole celebration now, just by getting to the Final Four. Yeah, they broke down a huge barrier, and they got to the Final Four. But I think this team had bigger goals than the Final Four.
Bigger goals is fucking that chick in that room.
This is the little bit of a letdown / look ahead spot where the way you beat Purdue is by Purdue kind of beating themselves when they don't make their outside shots. When the guards outside of Edey don't show up. Edey is inevitable, but some of the other guys making their outside shots isn't as consistent. And that's when you see Purdue kind of get into these dogfights. Northwestern didn't have a big that could match Edey. They were able to take them down. I have NC State covering this pretty easily. So this is a lock for me.
Woo. I'm betting all these. So
I'm the only one not going with the ACC team.
Hilarious. This guy he goes on a mountain trip. All right. Is this did you get kidnapped by fucking aliens? Is this another version of NC Nick?
Also, for what it's worth, I did cocktail napkin numbers for the totals on these games too. Personally, I've never bet a total with the cocktail napkin numbers, but I've always had them readily available. I think for the most part, they've been pretty good throughout the year. It likes the over here. Total
145.5 is what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, the total for the cocktail napkins at 150. So Purdue, if they don't take NC State seriously, like NC State's guards are able to hit outside shots, Purdue's defense also lacks in the backcourt as well.
Who will have the crowd edge? NC State will, right? Because of Burns.
Purdue.
I feel like Burns is igniting.
UConn.
So excited for this. They are going
but UConn fans will be rooting for NC State, right?
Yeah.
I think all 4 fan bases show up, so I don't think it's decided one way.
Well, no, but hold on. I get that, but I'm saying like right now there's
4.
one story that's like America's story, and I think it's DJ Burns and NC State, right?
I don't know if that matters for. I mean, it could. I think Purdue fans will also cheer against UConn too, for that matter. I mean, I think it's going to be a bunch of noise, like Nick said. Most of these, I mean, all 4 of these fan bases, I think, should travel. UConn because they're consistently passionate and they have been for the last couple of decades. But Purdue is loyal, NC State is loyal, and Alabama hasn't been there. So
they're all big schools too.
Yeah.
Bama probably has the worst turnout, I think.
Let me ask you something. Do you think there's value on waiting? Will this line climb up as far as like if you're taking NC State, will it go to 9.5, 9?
I think it goes the other way. I think that NC State's the public darling.
Okay.
Going back to the total, like if
everybody hates Edey and they love Burns. Sorry, Nick.
No problem. But going back to if you're on NC State, you're probably thinking an under. But it sounds like you think you like NC State and an over.
Yeah, I think NC State will be able to score with Purdue.
I think the more likely scenario is that NC State keeps up their really good defense and it's more lower scoring, and they can keep it within that 8.5.
I like taking football stadium unders.
That's true too. But
that is a good angle. Yeah.
So what team is more reliant on the 3-ball?
Purdue is.
Purdue.
I mean,
and nobody makes a 3 against NC State for some reason for 2 months now. I don't know what
Purdue's going to score because they'll get their buckets from Edey down low. I have a matchup that I really like in Purdue's favor, but it's not going to win them the game. I'll talk about that in the DFS portion, but I think NC State
that's something
will have their way on the outside.
Yeah, that's something NC Nick we did last night is we looked up NC State's the 3-point shooting against NC State since the ACC tournament, with the exception to Louisville, which shot a decent percentage.
Yeah,
no one else has shot, and that was the first game. So ever since that Louisville game, no one shot like above. I think it was like 33%.
Their perimeter defense has been very good. I mean, they own Duke's guards the last game. Casey Morrison was one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire country.
He locked up Golke too.
Yeah. But Purdue should be able to score inside some, I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump
over.
On
the flip side, I don't know if NC State's going to be able to score on the inside, and they've been hot and cold from 3.
I'm on the points. I don't know if I'm going to touch the total, but Alabama, Yukon. Hurley says, "Hey, Danny." Come, Bobby. Bobby says, come crash at my house. All right, we're good. We were partying. Me, Noah, and Mac and CJ, Sean and Ryan for a second. We were partying in Arizona. By the way, if anyone's going to the Final Four, make sure you hit up Venezia's Italian restaurant. Great pizza, great beer.
By the way,
I did.
Okay,
that was awesome. Awesome. And shout out to those guys. They have like that's like honestly the best food you can get on that trip. Make sure you hit Venezia's Italian food. Absolutely fantastic pizza. Beers. They got great beers. But we were there. They had a suite at the in Vegas, and they invited us, and we came over and tried their fantastic food, which, like I said, try if you're out there in Arizona, get it. But what was my original point here? But
if you're in Arizona,
about Bobby sleeping over at Danny's.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe that they were like on board. So they're involved with Arizona State. Dude, I've done like 4 straight fucking podcasts. Spare me. Bobby Hurley. I asked them, why is he coming back next year? Are you guys cool with it? He's like, it's not Bobby's fault that we're bad. We like Bobby. And I go, I was surprised by that answer. So he's coming back, and they love him apparently. But anyway, Bobby Hurley.
Whose fault is it bad? Yeah. So whose fault?
Well,
is
they said like
the AD.
Well, not only the AD, they're actually blaming the school president too. On like, it seemed like sport, like they're like Arizona State of the past put sports kind of first.
They better start investing, man.
Yeah, they're putting like academics first and not. Yeah, I got to say,
Arizona State's putting academics.
That's
first?
what they were saying. Is that there's that stigma against it, and they've been focusing on trying to. But we'll see. But anyway, do you think the Hurleys are going to have a little get together at old Bobby's, saying, "Danny, you stay here"? I know his dad's like a fucking assistant coach, even though he's not an assistant coach.
Well, Nate Oats and them go way back.
Yeah. The former assistant for Bobby Hurley.
Yeah.
At Buffalo, and his top recruit? I think Danny Hurley's first recruit at Rhode Island.
Matthews.
Yeah. UConn's laying 11.5. This line's too much. I look, UConn's a fucking train. 11.5.
Yeah.
Overreaction to a 30-0 run. Bama has athletes. They got experience. I love Sears' game. Grant Nelson's a fucking baller too. I'll take the 11.5. UConn wins by 7, 8, 9, 10. Just not 11. Just not 12. Well, actually 11. You're still good, but you know what I mean. Mac, what are you doing here?
Oh, I'm definitely on Bama. I mean, if there is a spot you're gonna fade UConn, it's gonna be this game because in the title game they're gonna be fucking locked the hell in.
See, but I think Bama's style though doesn't bid well for UConn.
Agreed.
I think Purdue style would actually has a better chance of beating UConn to me.
Yeah, and Alabama, they're kind of style proof. Like they're gonna play their game. They're gonna shoot a bunch of threes. They're gonna drive it with their good guards. When they get down 15, they're gonna keep driving and shooting it. I think Bama stays within the number. I actually think this is gonna be a hell of a game, and I'm really hoping that we get a good game too because I want to see UConn in a fucking tight game because something tells me if they get in a tight game, they're gonna fucking choke.
I do have a slew of DMs that says Max faded UConn every week or every game.
I took him against fucking Stetson. Get that shit out of here. Hey, you know what? I was on him a bunch last year until the San Diego State game, and then that I tried.
They're not in the ACC.
No, well, fuck UConn. I'm tired of their fucking fans acting like they ain't gonna fucking cover every game again. Give me roll, tide, roll. Sprinkle some on the 525 money line. Sears and Estrada make 10 threes each.
I do love those guards, but I followed Sears when he was at Ohio. Estrada at Hofstra, Grant Nelson at I know he's on a guard, but you know what I mean. I loved all those guys where they were from. It just sucks they took that SEC bag, but hey. Hopefully they cashed in. Hopefully they're just like Zach Edey, but without the video. They're taking someone to Plowtown. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier, it's not like during this run, Bama's played better defense, and that's why they've been winning. I mean, they're still just outscoring opponents. Their implied total in this game is about 75. I think if they're going to cover, they probably have to go over that. And
way over that, I think. Oh no, right. To win, I would say they'd have to go way over that.
Yeah,
to cover, yeah.
And if you look at it, what's the most points UConn's given up in the tournament so far is 58. Only 4 teams all year have scored over 75 against UConn, and 3 of those games were like January 10th or earlier. With all that said, though, I think I'm gonna go with you guys. I think UConn wins this. I think they probably win by 8 to 10.
Yeah. Bieniek.
I love what Nick said, and then he went against his own.
I know.
Well, you got to remember the connection. They're all friends.
The connection works the other way too. They're all friends. He's gonna be able to run it up against the fucking defense. I mean, so there's 2 things that Alabama only does. They shoot threes and they get buckets at the rim. We just saw this with Illinois. Right? They could not get to the rim. They couldn't. And nobody is going to be able to outmatch Donovan Clingan down low. Grant Nelson's a fucking pussy. A white
what?
Bean
pole. What's going on here?
He said Bacon would have his way.
He had 2 good games.
I know that. Rain man, cold, but
did you lose a prom date to Grant Nelson too?
Nick Pringle rolled his ankle in the Sweet 16. I mean, down low, they are going to get outmatched. UConn just did this to Illinois. Let's say Alabama drains 23s. That's 60 points. I don't have them getting as many points at the rim. I love Nick's stat. I'm going to add to it. Alabama's opponents, 87 points, 88 points, 88 points, 102 points, 109 points, 61 points, which was Grand Canyon, 87 points, 82 points. They're averaging 89.6 points against them in this run. in the postseason, SEC tournament and NCAA tournament. UConn's going to score. Alabama's going to have trouble getting points at the rim. They are going to have to make their threes. And we just said it about the last game. Stadium, long ball ain't going to work. UConn, lock it up.
Let me ask you this.
My cocktail napkin spit out a startling number. Startling number.
What? Oh, please tell it then.
15.
The fuck? Okay.
Lock it up.
I mean,
I mean, they're kind of putting the number higher than you would, what makes you feel comfortable in order to get more Bama bettors.
I think the book said, if you want to bet UConn, you're going to earn it this time.
True.
We ain't just
I
going to
don't even think they really have. Like they throughout this tournament, they did it in the Elite Eight. You would think they did it in the Sweet 16. You would have thought they've lost every time.
Do you think UConn slows it up against Bama?
UConn can play at whatever pace they want to play, and they'll still beat them by 20.
That's what North Carolina said too.
North Carolina.
North Carolina should have won that game though.
But I mean, Bama was within striking distance the entire way. The only team that has said no,
they're down like 12 or 14.
I think comparing North Carolina and UConn is crazy talk.
Well, they played earlier in the year. It was a great game, but I'm saying the only team that has slowed it up against Bama and said, no, you're not running against us in the last 2 years is San Diego State. And San Diego State dragged in the mud. If Bama if UConn wants to say our dick's bigger than yours and we're going to outrun you, I think it's going to be a good game. I thought that's what Carolina did. I thought ultimately it bit him in the ass.
What do you think about the total, Noah? 161.5.
I mean, I don't really have my own thoughts on total. Once again, the cocktail napkin is.
Who the fuck's doing the cocktail napkin then?
I mean, computers. 165. But I mean, to Mac's point, it is in a larger stadium with fucked up sight lines, so who knows? Do you call that UConn North Carolina game competitive and fun?
What? Me?
Yeah, Mac.
Oh,
wasn't it like a 9-point game?
No, they lost by 11 and they were trailing by double digits early in the first half. It was never a game.
I remember it being a game. I remember it being tied in the second half.
I remember UConn owning that building, and that was not a fun game to watch.
You know what, Noah? You've convinced me. I'm going to switch to UConn here. There's a reason why I picked them to win this whole damn tournament. Not because I like them whatsoever. And I hate picking a team to repeat, but they're the best damn basketball team in the country. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, if they do win the championship, which I'm not going to take them right now, but you know why?
I mean, UConn,
because they went into the great city of Greenville and they brought in real talent, championship pedigree.
You are grasping at straws.
UConn's 3-1 in the NCAA tournament against the spread. The one time Mac backed them, they won. However, he is 1-3. So
Nick should know better than anybody. A team going for a repeat, steamrolling everybody. All of a sudden, they get back to the Final Four and the old UNLV running Rebels back in the day. I mean, come on.
Don't start with that, Greg Anthony. That was if CJ Sullivan is saying this was race wars between Iowa LSU tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and say Duke UNLV. They get that bullshit foul to Greg Anthony. That bullshit. And you know what's crazy? Bobby Hurley. If you ever saw that doc they did, Bobby Hurley even says it. Bobby Hurley says, "Yeah, I don't know if I would have called that one."
I had the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl back to back. I have UConn winning this tournament back to back. Let's go.
All right. Well,
I just defended Duke, by the way, too. So I defended Duke, Carolina, and NC State.
And NC Nick comes back from the mountains, fading the ACC. What the hell is happening over here?